3 ways you can develop your intuition daily. Hi, I'm Sonia Tully. I'm a 4th generation intuitive, Hay House author, and intuitive teacher and guide. And today I want to share with you 3 tools, ways that I was taught to develop my intuition throughout my life. These are things that I use in my daily life to help strengthen my intuition and really to be able to live a guided life. So if you're new here, welcome to my channel. And if you are returning, welcome back. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful to see you. And today, like I said, let's dive into it. I'm going to give you 3 tools that I was taught to develop my intuition. And these are things that you can use yourself. See, intuition is really the act of picking up on vibration. Intuition is the voice of your spirit. In my world, that's your divine innate consciousness. And that divine consciousness guides us to our highest good. And it doesn't speak in words, it speaks in vibration. That's why we say things like, I had a gut feeling. I knew something felt off, or it felt right. When we are connected to our intuition, when we're connected to our physical bodies, what happens is everything in us opens up. And the big thing, it isn't whether you're intuitive or not, because the truth of the matter is that everybody's intuitive. It's not something special. The real question is, are you listening? Do you have a practice to get underneath the chatter of our heads, our ego intellect, as I like to call it, the part of yourself that constantly feels like a little rotisserie chicken on a spit that goes around and around and around and has lots of different opinions and different things, to start to quiet and get under that to your intuitive sense. And one thing that I find, because I've been mentoring clients and people and doing readings for well over a decade. And the funny thing that I find again and again is so many clients will say, not practice using their intuition, and then all of a sudden they want intuitive guidance on some big thing. Like, for example, I had a client the other week who was telling me that she does not use her intuition, but wanted to get intuitive guidance on whether or not she should make a big move, leaving her family behind and breaking up with her boyfriend, making all these decisions. And I laughed because I was like, well, how often do you actually take time to tune in? She was like, well, if I'm honest, not really. It's kind of like when you pray only when you need something. But if we can fine tune these skills, which intuition is really a skill, it's a listening skill. If we can fine tune that skill set and use it when we're not in really heightened moments, like, should I move across the country? Or should I break up with my boyfriend? Or should I start a business? And we can use them in more fun, little teeny tiny ways. What happens is we naturally become more intuitively guided. We start listening more, we start become more flexible, and it becomes a way that we live, because your intuition isn't meant to just happen on a little yoga mat, or moments where you're meditating, or these big things, but actually to be guided throughout your day, all the time. That is how I live my life. I'm gonna give you the tool number 1. Throughout your day, ask yourself, what does my intuition say? Or another way that my grandma always says, what does your spirit say? Now, say that out loud. What does my intuition say? Or what does my spirit say? And just take a moment and listen. See what happens. What does my spirit say? And if you'll notice, everything in you opens up, and what happens is you actually start to listen. When you pose a question, the intellect gets quiet and there's an opening. You're like, I'm curious what my intuition, what my spirit is saying. And when we're curious, when we're listening, that's where we get guidance. See, it's not complicated. So, first of all, just start to use it as a habit. You can say, what does my spirit say that I should have for lunch? What does my spirit say about what I should watch on TV? Guide me. What does my spirit say even how I can get to work? When we can use it in these little teeny tiny ways and make it fun. Make it like a fun treasure hunt instead of like, oh my gosh, what does my intuition have to say? Then you become more guideable. That's the truth, and that's what really matters. How guidable are you is something that my mom always asked me. And I also ask my clients. And so if you're somebody who's wanting to develop your intuition, first of all, I would really encourage you to download my spiritual toolkit. It's a free toolkit filled with exercises and tools and a guided meditation to help support you getting into that listening state. You can get it on my website, soniatully.com, or if you're watching this on YouTube, in the little description thing below. So tool number 1, what does my spirit say? Notice how you listen. Notice how you open up. And even with my same client, I asked her, what does your spirit say? And she said, and I said, ask it out loud. She said, all right, what does my spirit say? And she was like, my spirit says, I'm not ready. It's not the time. And she was right. It was perfect. Her spirit gave her very clear guidance. She was like, I feel like I'm really forcing it. This job isn't something that I've actually wanted. I've had a lot of pressure with my friends and family around this partnership, and I actually just need a time out. So, okay. But I was like, instead of just having to use it with these heightened things, use it of like, what do you want to watch on Netflix? There you go. And when you can practice that, it makes it easier. Second tool to help to develop your intuition, and it's a really fun thing to do. See, we work on vibration, right? So next time you're around somebody, whether you are at at work or even in your home, a good way that you can do is actually just start paying attention to vibing someone. So even in a way, use your attention and energy to send out a vibration. Being like, okay, I am going to vibe. Like right now, I'm in Paris visiting my mom, which is so lovely, but I'm gonna vibe my mom. I'm gonna send her a little beam and vibe her. And I'm gonna see how long it takes for her to pick up on that signal. And what's interesting, and especially if you do this in public places, you'll see really quickly that people, and it doesn't even be people that you know, will feel the vibration. They'll pick up on it. All of a sudden they'll turn or they'll look, or even more fun, having the place of, even with your own phone, of doing it long distance and see who are the different people who are receptive to the energy. This is a fun way to play like vibrational telephone. And way back in the day, before cell phones were a thing, and this is still a thing that you can use, and even with a text, of who is texting me. Before you look at the name, before you decide, even before you pull it out, just give yourself a moment and say, who's calling? Who is calling on the phone? We used to play that game all the time when I was a kid. It was like, all right, who's calling? And the thing is you'll notice that as you start to practice not having the intellect of am I right, but what's the vibe? And you can even make it, instead of names, it's like, okay, is it a person that I know? Is it not a number, or even a text? Is it, how do they identify? Is it my best friend? Is it someone else? And just see and practice and have fun with it. And notice how that same time you will become more intuitive. That skill, that muscle will become more refined. And last but not least, still working on vibes, because developing our intuitive sense, like I said, it's a skill. It's a practice. It's something that you can get better at. And that just means that you're practice deeper listening. So the last tool I'm going to give you, which is also a fun one and easy, is pick up different objects. Pick up different objects, whether it's somebody else's keys or a book or anything. Like, for example, if you wound up at a library, or if you were even shopping at a farmer's market and you pick up a good, feel the vibration of the person who made it. What comes to mind? What shows up? Is it different colors, images? Is it a feeling? And you don't have to figure it out. So often our intellect wants to try and figure it out and say, am I right? But the question isn't, am I right? How does this feel? How does this resonate? And the more that you can make it fun and playful, the more that your intuition will expand. See, intuition resides in the present moment, and the more that we can be present and play with it, the more that we get out of that intellect of right, wrong, good, bad, all or nothing thinking, back into our flow, back into those moments of trusting ourselves. So really make it a game. Make it a game. Play intuitive games with yourself all the time. Who's the person that made this? What is their vibe? Who texted me? Because nowadays, let's be real, not a lot of people call. Telemarketers call, something like that. But even there, you can play that game. Who's going to be on the other end of the line? Or even that same tool of what does my spirit say? You can also even use another game of I wonder what the first letter or number of the next license plate that I'm going to see. There are little ways that we can sharpen and use our intuition, and what happens is the more that you play those games, the more that you will notice and be present in this moment. Like I said, intuition isn't something that happens and just these big things, but it happens right here, right now. And all you have to do is listen. As I would like to say, as long as your heart is beating, your spirit is home, and your intuition works just perfectly well. So don't try and figure it out, feel it. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope that you play with your intuitive sense. A good last tool is write it down. Helps to strengthen and have you notice, like, oh, look at all these ways that I've been intuitively guided. Look at how I'm improving. Look at how my intuitive sense is getting stronger. These are really great ways to help train our intellect and to have fun with it, because, like I said, the more that we use and incorporate our intuition throughout our life, a relationship with our spirit throughout our life, the better that we will flow, trust ourselves, trust other people, and really live and have a supported, divinely guided, magical, manifested, beautiful life. And, intuition doesn't mean that you're not going to have your human experience. You will. But you'll see that you actually have a lot of support and guidance, not only from yourself, but from the universe. So I hope you enjoyed these tools. As always, if you haven't already, click the link below and get my spiritual toolkit. Or if you want to book an intuitive reading, there's also, you can book a one-on-one soul reading with me. Or if you're really wanting to mentor, think about mentoring with me. I always offer a free 15-minute phone call to see if working together is a good fit. You can find all those links below or over on my site, soniatully.com, and leave me a comment. Do you have a favorite intuitive game? Tell me what you think. And if you haven't already, hit subscribe, like, share this with your friends. It is so important to have your community. So, sending you all my love. Bye.